Amara Okoye had always believed that the smallest details often revealed the biggest truths. To her, the way a company treated people at the door was the same way it treated its customers in the market. She was a woman of calm presence, with sharp eyes that noticed things most others would ignore. On the morning she officially stepped into her new role as the CEO of Lakeside Logistics, she decided not to arrive in a black car with tinted windows or with assistants carrying folders. Instead, she came alone, dressed simply, blending in with the early morning flow of people. The company had been struggling. Late deliveries, missed deadlines, and a growing list of customer complaints had reached the ears of the board of directors. They knew change was needed, and they believed Amara was the right person to bring that change. She had built her reputation not only on turning around failing operations but also on creating cultures where people felt respected, no matter their role. She was not interested in surface-level fixes, she wanted to go deep and understand the heart of the problem. As she stepped into the lobby that morning, she paused. The first impression was not welcoming. A worn-out sign that read "By appointment only" stood on the front desk. The chairs in the waiting area wobbled slightly, their cushions sunken from years of use. The air felt cold, not just from the air conditioner but from the silence of hurried employees walking past without offering so much as a greeting. Amara noticed how they averted their eyes, as if talking to a stranger might cost them precious time. She smiled gently and found a seat near the entrance. She wanted to see, to feel, how any visitor, whether a client, a delivery driver, or a job seeker, was treated when they walked into Lakeside. She knew this small test would reveal much about the hidden culture inside. As she sat quietly, she observed a janitor named Felix moving from corner to corner with his mop. Unlike the others, Felix noticed her. He nodded warmly, gave a kind smile, and said, "Good morning." That small gesture stood out. It was simple, but it carried respect. Amara returned the greeting and made a mental note. She believed that kindness in small moments was a sign of leadership in disguise. A few minutes later, several managers walked past. They wore suits and carried leather bags, their eyes glued to their phones. None of them looked toward the waiting area. None of them stopped to see if someone sitting there needed help. Amara observed closely this lack of attention was not about being busy, it was about habit. They were used to walking past people without acknowledgement. She wondered if this was the same way they treated customers, suppliers, or even their own staff in the warehouse. She had planned her first day carefully. Rather than walking straight into the boardroom at 9 o'clock to give a grand speech, she wanted to blend in and see the company from the perspective of an outsider. She called it her listening tour. She preferred listening to observing before making decisions. To her, the truth was always present in the quiet spaces. At 8:45 a.m., a delivery driver entered, struggling to push a heavy cart stacked with boxes. He looked tired, his shirt damp with sweat from the morning humidity. He asked at the desk if he could drop the goods, but the front desk supervisor didn't look up from the computer. "Someone will come," the supervisor said flatly. The driver shifted uneasily, clearly worried about being late for his next stop. Amara noticed the frustration on his face. Without thinking twice, she stood up and helped him steady the cart. "Take your time," she said softly. The driver looked surprised but grateful. For a moment, it felt natural to him that another visitor cared more than the people running the building. Amara listened as he spoke about delays in receiving, about how drivers often waited for hours because no one was ready to sign documents. She stored every detail in her mind. By 8:55 a.m., the managers began gathering in the large conference room across the hall. Through the glass walls, Amara could see them adjusting their ties, laughing, and placing folders neatly on the polished table. She knew this was the leadership team she would face soon, but for now, they looked unaware that the woman who would soon be their boss was just a few feet away. At that moment, the front desk supervisor glanced at her. His eyebrows raised slightly, and he walked over. "Excuse me," he said, polite but firm. "This area is for management meetings only. Could you please wait outside?" Amara blinked, surprised not by his words but by the casual way he dismissed her. She explained calmly, "I have a 9 o'clock meeting scheduled." He gave a small, rehearsed smile and said, "Yes, but you'll need to wait outside until someone calls for you." He then pointed to the glass doors that led back to the sidewalk. For a moment, Amara said nothing. She simply nodded and followed his instructions. She stepped outside into the drizzle. The delivery driver was still there, adjusting his cart and muttering about the time. Together, they stood quietly, watching the clock tick closer to 9. Amara did not feel insulted. Instead, she felt clarity. In those 5 minutes, she had seen the company's spirit laid bare: indifference at the desk, coldness in the lobby, and laughter behind closed doors. If this was how they treated a stranger who claimed to have an appointment, what did they do to long-term customers when things went wrong? What did they do to warehouse staff when problems arose? As the drizzle tapped gently on the sidewalk, Amara took a deep breath. Her decision was already forming. These small details were enough. This was why Lakeside Logistics had been failing. This was the reason customers had been leaving, and this was why drivers like the man beside her were frustrated. In just those few quiet minutes outside the door, she had found the truth she needed. The drizzle became a soft curtain across the glass doors, blurring the faces inside the conference room. Amara stood outside, steady and quiet, her hands folded in front of her. She was not angry. She was taking in details: the clock above the lobby desk that ran 3 minutes slow, the by appointment only sign turned slightly sideways, the small puddle forming near the mat where guests stepped in from the rain. Small details speak loudly, she thought. If the first 5 minutes are careless, the next 5 months will also be careless. The delivery driver beside her shifted his weight from one foot to the other. He looked at the time, then at the boxes stacked on his cart. "They'll find me if I miss my next stop," he said in a tired voice. "I have 3 more drops. Here, I have paper with the contact number, but nobody picks up." He showed her a printed page with a faded company logo and 2 phone numbers scratched out and replaced by a third. Amara read it and returned it to him with a calm nod. "What is your name?" she asked. "Marco," he said, pushing wet strands of hair off his forehead. "I've been coming here for years. It was better before. Now it's waiting, always waiting." A gust of wind carried a splash of rain onto both of them. Amara took one step back toward the wall for cover. She noticed the lobby security guard, a man with kind eyes, glance through the glass at them and then look down, unsure. Inside the big glass meeting room, the managers were smiling and stacking folders. One man made a joke, covering his mouth with his hand, and the others leaned back in their chairs, amused. No one looked toward the door. Amara reached into her bag and took out a small notepad. It was simple, with a blue cover. She wrote in neat handwriting, "Rain. Door locked. Guests standing outside. Phone numbers not working. Clock slow. Sign cold." Then she put a small dot next to the word sign and wrote, different words, "Welcome. How can we help?" She kept the notes short and clear. She believed that good decisions are built on small truths. The front desk supervisor, the same man who had asked her to wait outside, opened the door just a crack and handed a paper to the security guard. He did not look at her. The security guard hesitated, then stepped out into the drizzle. "Ma'am," he said gently to Amara, "they will call for you when ready." "I'm sorry about the rain." He looked genuinely sorry. Amara appreciated his tone. "Thank you," she said. "What is your name?" "Daniel," he answered, a little surprised that she asked. "Thank you, Daniel," she said again, meaning it. He gave a quick nod and went back in. A young woman came running from the parking lot with a clear plastic box full of small black umbrellas. She tapped on the glass, and Daniel let her in. A moment later, the young woman stepped back out and handed one umbrella to Marco and one to Amara. "I keep a box of them in the back," she said, smiling shyly. "People come in wet and then the floor gets messy. This helps." Amara took the umbrella, opened it, and looked at the young woman with warm eyes. "You thought ahead," Amara said. "That's smart." The young woman blushed a little. "I'm Anna," she said. "I'm still in training. I just try to help where I can." She glanced toward the conference room and lowered her voice. "Sometimes they say guests should figure things out on their own. But I don't like seeing people stand in the rain." Amara studied Anna for a brief second. There was care in her voice. There was pride in her small solution. "Thank you, Anna," she said. "This already makes the place feel kinder." Anna held the plastic box close to her chest and smiled. "If you need anything, I can ask Daniel," she said. "I will," Amara replied. The 5 minutes felt longer because of the rain and because of what the rain revealed. A job applicant arrived, holding a folder under his sweater to keep it dry. He looked through the glass and then back at the sign. He checked his phone again and again. When the door opened at last, he hurried inside and went to the desk. From outside, Amara watched the way he was greeted. No greeting, only a quick gesture to the sign-in tablet. The young man's shoulders dropped slightly. He typed in his name with careful fingers and sat on a wobbly chair, holding his breath like a student in a silent library. Next came a woman in her 60s, carrying a small box taped neatly with blue strips. She knocked softly and waited. Anna hurried to open the door for her and guided her inside, speaking gently. Anna pointed to a dry spot on the mat and then walked the woman to a seat, bringing a tissue so she could dry her glasses. Amara wrote again, "Anna sees people. Has system. Umbrellas, tissues, mat. Systems can be strong even when titles are small," she thought. Another manager entered from a side door with a large coffee. He placed the cup on the front desk, scrolled on his phone, and walked toward the glass room, not noticing the small line forming at the tablet. The line now included a courier with a large envelope and a vendor holding a sample bag. The front desk supervisor looked stressed and called out, "Take a seat, someone will be with you." His voice was flat, and the words felt like a wall. Amara wondered how often someone actually arrived. She checked her watch. 8:59. The drizzle was easing. The day smelled like wet concrete and coffee. Amara could see her reflection in the glass, a simple jacket, her hair pulled back, a calm face. She thought of the board of directors. 2 of them had texted her that morning, "Good luck today." She did not believe in luck. She believed in attention. She believed in courage that did not need to raise its voice. Marco, the delivery driver, sighed and touched the edge of the umbrella as if it were a small gift from the sky. "I wish someone would just step outside and sign," he said quietly. "That's all. A signature. Then I can go." He looked at the boxes and shook his head. "Every minute matters for us." Amara turned to him. "It matters for your customers too," she said. He gave a small laugh. "Yes, them too," he agreed. He did not know who she was. He did not know that the woman standing next to him would soon change the way this building worked. He only knew that she listened and that she did not look away. Through the glass, a slide lit up on the screen in the conference room. The title was large and bold, Q3 Outlook. A man in a gray jacket pointed at the screen with the confidence of someone used to pointing. People leaned forward, attentive. No one looked toward the door even now, with the rain, with the waiting, with the small needs outside. The separation was not just a wall of glass, it was a habit of mind. Inside meant importance. Outside meant pause. Amara felt the spark inside her grow clear and bright, not a flash of anger, but a steady light. She remembered something her first mentor had told her: when you want to know a company's truth, watch how the lowest power person is treated in the first 5 minutes. Here, in this place, she had her answer. The answer was written by the sign, by the tablet, by the clock, by the tired faces of people who needed simple help and met a closed door. At exactly 9 o'clock, the rain slowed to a mist. Amara closed the umbrella and handed it back to Anna. "Thank you for thinking ahead," she said again. Anna nodded, holding the umbrella box closer. "I'll put these by the door," she said, "so people can grab them without asking." Amara smiled. "Good idea," she replied. She turned to Marco. "I hope you get that signature soon," she said. He lifted his chin. "We'll see," he answered, resigned. She opened her bag and took out her ID badge, a slim card with a quiet weight. She ran her thumb over the raised letters. She did not show it yet. She did not need to. These 5 minutes belonged to observation, not to titles. She breathed in the cool air and looked once more through the glass. She noticed a detail she had missed before: a small sign near the conference door that read "Leadership Only." The letters were neat, but the message was small. Real leadership does not need that sign, she thought. Real leadership walks through any door and asks, "How can I help?" Her phone buzzed. A message from a trusted board member: "We believe in you. Start small. Go true." Amara's mouth curved into the slightest smile. She typed back, "5 minutes outside. I see what we need to fix." She added a photo not of the meeting room, but of Anna holding the umbrella box, a symbol of simple solutions living in plain view. She hit send. Daniel glanced up again from the security desk and caught her eye. He looked like he wanted to say something but wasn't sure if he should. She stepped closer to the glass and gave him a reassuring nod. There was no rush in her movement, but there was purpose. The door clicked open with a soft sound, and the lobby's cool air reached her again. She stepped inside, wiped a small drop of water from her sleeve, and walked to the sign-in tablet. She did not skip it. She placed her name into the system like any visitor would, letting the machine play its part. The screen flashed, "Please wait." She waited. She had practice with waiting. In the quiet, she listened. The building spoke in small ways: the hum of the air vent that needed cleaning, the faint rattle of a loose register near the floor, the distant beeping of a forklift in the warehouse, reminding her that real work lived beyond these walls. She listened to the careful click of Anna's fingers as she arranged a row of umbrellas near the door. She listened to the soft scrape of Marco's cart as he tried not to block anyone's way. These sounds mattered. The company's melody was here, and it could be tuned. The spark was now a plan. It was not yet action that would come soon, but it was a clean, strong plan forming in her mind: open the door, fix the welcome, tell the truth in the numbers, move help to where it is needed first, and let the right people lead, no matter their title. She would not rush, but she would not delay. The next steps would be careful and clear. The tablet chimed and displayed a simple message: "Proceed to conference room A." The words looked like any other office message, but to Amara they felt like the end of one test and the start of the real work. She thanked Anna with a small nod, thanked Daniel with another, and then took one quiet step toward the glass room where the leaders were waiting. The rain stopped outside. The floor shined slightly where the mat did its job. It was time to move from observation to action, from small truths to big changes, one respectful choice at a time. Amara stepped into conference room A with quiet steps and a clear mind. The room smelled faintly of strong coffee and the lemon cleaner used on the table. The managers looked up, surprised to see the same woman who had been waiting by the door. The front wall held a wide whiteboard that reached almost from corner to corner. Without a word, Amara took a marker, uncapped it slowly, and wrote in careful, even letters, 5 minutes outside. Chairs rustled. A few people exchanged glances. The man in the gray jacket, who had been pointing at the slide, lowered his arm and cleared his throat. "Before we begin," he said, looking at the board with a small frown, "we have an agenda prepared." He gestured toward a neat stack of handouts. A woman in a navy blazer adjusted her glasses and slid a packet toward Amara's seat. The top of the agenda read, Q3 Outlook Leadership Meeting. Amara stood beside the whiteboard, still holding the marker. Her voice was calm and even. "Good morning. I'm Amara Okoye." She let the words rest in the air. "Thank you for being on time. I appreciate it." The room quieted. She could feel the attention shift, the way a room does when something real is about to happen. "I arrived early this morning," she continued, "to see how our building welcomes people." She glanced at the words on the board. "I spent 5 minutes outside." A faint smile crossed the face of a manager near the end of the table, as if he thought this was a mild story that would lead to a small reminder. "We can talk with the front desk about the door," he offered. "They can be strict." Another manager folded his arms, half amused. "It's a security thing," he said. "We can't just let anyone in." Amara nodded. "Security matters, yes. So does welcome. And truth." She set down the marker and took one seat at the end of the table, not at the head. Her choice surprised them. She wanted that. She wanted them to feel the shift. "Before we go to Q3, she said, "I want to ask a simple question. Who is our customer?" She looked around the room. "Please, just say the first answer that comes to mind." The man in gray spoke first. "Our customer is the brand that pays for freight." The woman in navy said, "The customer is the account that signs the contract." Another manager added, "We serve the market. The market is our customer." Their answers were smooth, trained, and safe. They were also distant from people. Amara listened without judgment. Then she asked, "Who walked into our lobby this morning?" A few eyes drifted toward the glass wall. "A delivery driver," someone said after a pause. "A job applicant," another added. "A vendor with samples," the woman in navy said. "Yes," Amara said softly, "and each of them is a kind of customer. Each carries a need that depends on us." She reached into her bag and placed her small blue notepad on the table. "I noticed a clock that is 3 minutes slow," she said, "a sign that feels like a wall, and a line at the tablet that did not move." She looked at the man in gray. "I also noticed a driver who needed one signature to continue his day. He was standing in the rain." The room shifted. No one laughed now. If we are slow at the door, we are likely slow at the dock. If we are cold in the lobby, we may be cold in our calls. If we ignore small needs, we may miss the big ones. The navy blazer manager lifted her pen. "We are under pressure," she said carefully. "We've had turnover. The receiving team is short." She tapped the agenda with her pen. "We plan to discuss this in item 7. The man in gray added, "We lost 2 coordinators last month. Training takes time. Suppliers are late. Drivers show up without appointments." His voice was firm, polite, practiced. Amara kept her tone gentle. "Turnover is a real issue," she said. "Training is a real task. Still, we owe people honesty and care while we fix those. I saw a trainee at the front desk who cared. She brought umbrellas to the door before anyone asked. She built a small system with tissues and mats." Her eyes brightened. "Her name is Anna. She made welcome stronger without a new budget, title, or slide." A few managers wrote down Anna, not sure why. Others stared at the word outside on the board, as if it were a lesson from a different class. "Let's talk about numbers," the man in gray said, eager to return to his slides. Our on-time percentage is currently 87%. We have a plan to get back over 90. Amaro lifted a hand, not to stop him but to hold the space. Is that true on time, she asked, or the reported on time? A silence followed. The gray jacket manager frowned slightly. Reported on time, he said at last, but still accurate within customary tolerance. What is our tolerance? She asked, her voice still mild. 10%, he said. Sometimes more, someone muttered near the end of the table. Amara folded her hands. I read an email thread last week, she said, suggesting we mark a few late deliveries as exceptions so the score looks steady. She kept her face open, not accusing. Is that a common practice or a rare one? The woman in navy cleared her throat. It is used when there are factors outside our control, she said. We are not trying to mislead. We are trying to show the heart of our performance. Amaro looked at the whiteboard. The heart of our performance, she repeated softly, as if testing the words. The heart is the part that people feel. When a driver waits in the rain for a signature, he feels the true heart. When a customer opens a late crate, she feels the true heart. She turned back to the table. We can handle tough truth. What we cannot carry is hidden truth. Hidden truth becomes heavy very fast. A man with careful hair and an expensive watch leaned forward. With respect, he said, you're new. There is important context here. Our biggest client changed their system. We had to adjust the way we report to keep the contract safe. If we had not, we could have lost the business. His eyes asked for understanding. His words asked for a pass. Amaro listened fully. Thank you, she said. Context matters. I also know this, when we change how we name late work, we do not make the work on time. We only change the name. The work is still late to the person receiving it. She let that rest. No one moved. I am not here to blame, she continued. I am here to see clearly and fix clearly. She stood again and returned to the whiteboard. Under 5 minutes outside, she drew 3 short lines and wrote 3 words, door, dock, data. She turned back to the team. Our door needs welcome. Our dock needs flow. Our data needs truth. She capped the marker, set it down, and clasped her hands. I want to hear from people who run the day, not just the deck, she said. Who works the night receiving line? Who coordinates with drivers at off hours? The room looked around, unsure. The woman in navy gestured toward an empty chair. Felix was invited, but he said he was covering facilities this morning, she said. He cleans the lobby before the first shift and then returns to dispatch at night. Amaro felt a small, warm jolt of recognition. Felix, she said softly. I met him earlier. He greeted me kindly. She nodded. Please add his name to the next conversation. The man with the watch raised his hand again. With respect, he said carefully, we have built these routines over years. We did not get here by accident. We are known for being efficient. The market is tough. It is not fair to judge us by 5 minutes and a rainy morning. He offered a polite smile. We should look at the quarter, not the weather. Amara smiled back. I agree we should look at the quarter, she said. And I also know that big patterns show up in small moments. Our customers do not live inside our quarter. They live inside their day. We meet them there, or we lose them there. She opened her notepad and slid a page forward so everyone could see. It was a simple list: rain. Door locked. Guests outside. Numbers slow. Umbrellas from trainee. This is not a complaint, she said. It is a mirror. If we recognize ourselves, we can get better fast. If we do not, we will keep wondering why the numbers do not love us back. A quiet manager, who had not spoken yet, raised his hand. "May I share something?" he asked. "Please," Amara said. "I manage the pick and pack team," he said. "We used to have a 10-minute rule at receiving. If a driver arrived, someone had to sign within 10 minutes even if we could not unload yet. It kept the day moving. During the last year, we dropped it because we were short. It might help to bring it back." The room turned to him, surprised. He looked down at his hands, then back up. "Also, the clock in the lobby has been slow for months. We just keep forgetting to fix it." Amara's face lightened. "Thank you," she said. "That is clear, useful, and human. A 10-minute rule is a kind promise. It respects drivers, vendors, and our own schedule." She looked around the table. "Who else has a simple practice we let go and could bring back?" The woman in navy spoke, almost despite herself. "We had a daily call with our top 5 customers, 10 minutes each, every morning," she said. "We stopped it when reports got heavier. But those calls solved issues before they grew." She paused, hearing her own words. "We could restart it?" The man in gray looked at his slides, then at Amara, then at the whiteboard. "I still believe our plan will help," he said, softer now. "But I see your point about truth in the data. We can split reported on time and true on time and publish both. It might be uncomfortable, but it could build trust." Amara nodded, grateful. "That is a helpful step," she said. "Honesty is not an attack. It is a path. When we tell the truth about where we are, people often walk with us to where we want to go." A knock sounded at the glass door. Daniel, the security guard, stood there with a gentle expression. "Sorry," he mouthed, and then opened the door slightly. "There's a driver asking if someone can sign now," he said quietly. "He has to reach another stop soon." The managers looked at each other, caught between the meeting and the need. Amara met Daniel's eyes. "Thank you for letting us know," she said. "To the room," she said, "we will be the kind of company that pauses a slide to help a person. Who can go sign?" The quiet manager who ran pick and pack stood up, pushed in his chair, and said, "I'll do it." He moved with purpose toward the door. No one stopped him. A small, good current moved through the room. Amara let the moment settle. "This is what I mean," she said softly. "We can choose small actions that tell people we see them." She looked again at the whiteboard, door, dock, data. "I will not ask you to defend the past," she said. "I will ask you to help me build the next 90 days with care and truth." She paused and added, "There will be changes. Some will be simple, like fixing a clock. Some will be larger. They will be fair and visible." The man with the watch leaned back, studying her. He seemed to understand that the room had shifted. The navy blazer manager adjusted her notes, already listing ideas. The man in gray closed his laptop and set it aside. Amara felt the quiet power of a team beginning to turn toward the same direction, even if not everyone knew it yet. She stood and went to the board once more. Beside the 3 words, she drew 3 small circles, like stepping stones. "We will step carefully," she said. "We will listen, act, and measure. We will meet people at the door, at the dock, and in the data. And we will do it with respect." She capped the marker and looked around the table, meeting each person's eyes with a steady, human gaze. Outside the glass, the rain had stopped. Sunlight found its way through thin clouds and made a faint glow on the lobby floor. Amara could see Anna arranging the umbrellas in a neat row for the next rain that would come someday. She could see Daniel speaking softly to a visitor, showing him the right direction. The building felt a little warmer, or maybe it was just the way people were starting to move. The man from Pick and Pack returned and slipped into his seat. "Signed," he said quietly. He thanked us. A small smile moved from person to person. It was not a victory speech. It was a sign that the day could still go right. Amara placed her palm on the table, not to strike it, but to feel its solid surface. "Thank you," she said. "Let's continue. And let's do it with the 5 minutes outside in our minds." She sat down again, not at the head of the table, but where she had chosen before, a reminder that position is less important than posture. The struggle was clear now. So was the work. The turning point was near. The room felt different now, quiet but awake, like everyone knew a real choice was coming. Amara closed the laptop in front of her and folded her hands. She had listened. She had asked hard questions gently. Now she would act. She sent a short message from her phone, and within a minute, 2 people entered the conference room, a calm woman from HR named Myra and a company lawyer named Thomas. They did not look tense. They looked ready to support a fair process. Amara stood. Her voice was kind and steady. "Thank you for your thoughts," she said to the team. "Thank you for your years here. I want to speak clearly. We are going to change how this company works at the door, at the dock, and in the data. To do that, we need a different leadership team." A silence fell that felt like a soft drop in air pressure. No one moved. The words were simple, but they carried weight. "Effective today," Amara continued, "the roles of the current management team in this room will end. HR is here to make sure every person is treated with full respect, proper pay, standard severance, and support for next steps. There will be no surprises in the paperwork, no delays, and no unkindness. I will not allow that." One manager opened his mouth as if to argue, then stopped. Another stared at the table. The woman in the navy blazer took a slow breath and nodded once, as if she had been expecting a serious turn. Amara added, "This is not about blame. It is about fit. We need leaders who build trust with small, daily choices. We need leaders who tell the truth in the numbers and see people at the door. This company has good people. We will bring them forward now." She looked toward Myra and Thomas. "Please help our colleagues with a smooth and private transition," she said softly. Myra stood and spoke in a respectful tone. "We have prepared individual packets," she said. "We will meet one-on-one in the room next door. You will receive support, including references based on your real contributions. We will do this with care." The man in the gray jacket rubbed his forehead and gave a short, tired laugh. "It's a lot to take in," he said, not unkindly. "But, understood." The woman in navy closed her notebook and held it to her chest. "I hope the company does well," she said. "There are good people here." Amara met her eyes. "There are," she said. "Thank you for your work." As the managers rose, the quiet pick and pack lead who had gone to sign for the driver stood halfway, then paused. He was not part of the formal management team, but he had been invited to share operations updates. He began. Amara shook her head gently. "Please stay," she said. "We will need you." When the door closed behind the exiting group, the room felt both lighter and more serious. Amara turned to the people still seated, the quiet pick and pack lead, 2 supervisors from receiving, and a scheduling coordinator. "I will name an interim team today," she said. "We start now." She took the marker again and wrote 4 names on the whiteboard. Felix, acting operations coordinator, routes and night dispatch. Salma, acting head of fulfillment, warehouse and pick and pack. Anna, acting guest experience lead, lobby and front desk. Daniel, acting visitor operations, security and flow. She added one more, Ravi, acting flow manager, receiving and dock. The quiet lead looked up in surprise. "My name is Ravi," he said. "Thank you." He sat a little straighter, not proud, but ready. Amara smiled. "I met each of you through your actions," she said. Felix greets people with respect and knows the routes by heart. Salma has improved pick and pack accuracy and trained new staff with patience. Anna saw a simple need and solved it with umbrellas and tissues. Daniel notices people and communicates clearly. Ravi remembers good rules and brings them back without blaming anyone. These are leadership habits. She erased the old slide title Q3 Outlook from the screen and drew 3 columns under the words door, doc, data. Here is our 90-day plan, she said. Simple, visible, and true. She pointed to the door column. Today, change the sign to welcome. How can we help? Fix the lobby clock. Put the umbrellas by the door with a small note, please take one. Start a daily 8:30 a.m. 10-minute stand-up in the lobby with whoever is on the front line. Anna, Daniel, a supervisor. Ask, who is coming? What do they need? Every leader will do 1 hour a week at the door. I call this the door test. It keeps us humble and close to real needs. She moved to the doc column. Today, restart the 10-minute signature promise. Post it on a small card at the dock, we sign within 10 minutes, or we come tell you why. By the end of the week, map the receiving flow with tape on the floor. Arrive, sign, stage, unload. Remove any extra stops that slow people down. By day 14, create a driver waiting area with chairs that do not wobble, a water cooler, and a board that shows which bay is next. By day 30, set up a rotating shadow shift. Office staff must spend 2 hours a week at the dock to understand real work. Then she tapped the data column. Today, separate reported on time from true on time. No more hiding late work behind exceptions. If we call something an exception, we explain why, and we include the customer's view. By next week, publish a simple dashboard, a single page with 3 numbers, true on time, driver signature time, and top 5 customer issues. By day 30, call our top 50 customers. We listen, we apologize if needed, we make a plan, and we call back a week later to confirm the fix. She set down the marker. These steps are not expensive, she said. They are not complex. They are just honest and human. This is how trust begins again. The door opened softly. Myra stepped back in. Transitions are underway, she said quietly. Everything is respectful. Amara nodded with relief. Thank you. She turned to the interim team. Let's go make changes that people can feel. They left the glass room together. The lobby felt brighter now, not because the lights had changed, but because people's attention had. Amara walked straight to the front desk. Anna, she said with a smile, will you help me make a new sign? Anna's eyes widened. Yes. She pulled out a sheet of clean cardstock and a simple frame. Together, they wrote in large, friendly letters, welcome. How can we help? Anna placed the sign on the desk and stepped back. The message looked small and kind, the way a good greeting should. Daniel, Amara said, let's fix the clock. Daniel grinned, almost like a kid invited to help. He opened a drawer and took out new batteries he had bought himself just in case. He climbed on a small step stool, adjusted the hands to the correct time, and clicked the frame closed. The seconds hand began to move with a healthy tick. Ravi headed to the dock with purpose. He grabbed a stack of pre-printed 10-minute promise cards from the old supply closet, cards he had made months ago when the rule still lived. He taped one at each bay, then gathered the receiving team. We're back to the promise, he said simply. If you cannot sign in 10 minutes, you walk over and tell the driver why. No one waits in silence. Amara followed him to the dock. She saw Marco, the delivery driver from the rain, rolling his cart back with a small smile. Got my signature, he said. Thank you. Amara nodded to Ravi and the receiving clerk beside him. Good, she said. That is how a day should feel. She turned to Marco. Safe roads. He lifted 2 fingers in a quick, grateful salute and headed for the door. In the warehouse, Salma had already formed a circle with the pick and pack team. "We'll run a quick 5-minute start," she said, her voice calm. "2 questions, what will block us today, and who needs help?" Hands went up, not with complaints but with facts. "We are short labels in aisle 3. The scanner in bay 2 freezes." Salma wrote each note and assigned a name to it. "We fix these first," she said. "Then everything else flows." Back in the lobby, the job applicant who had arrived earlier was still waiting quietly, his folder now dry. Anna walked over with a kind smile. "Thank you for waiting," she said. "Would you like some water? Your interview will start soon." He looked up, surprised by the simple care. "Yes, please," he said. His shoulders lowered, just a little. Amara returned to the conference room and opened her laptop. She wrote a short message to the whole company: "Today we begin again. We will build a place where people are welcomed at the door, helped quickly at the dock, and told the truth in the data. You will see changes immediately. You will feel them. If you have ideas, bring them. If you see a need, act. Respect is our brand." She pressed send. Then she drafted a simple note for customers: "We are changing how we serve you. We will report true on time and fix delays with clear plans. If you have been disappointed, we are sorry. We will earn back your trust with actions, not slogans." She sent it to the account leads and asked them to call, not just email. She texted the board: "Restructure complete. Interim team appointed from front line. 90-day plan in motion. First wins, signature promise restarted, lobby welcome changed, clock fixed. Publishing true on time by end of day." A reply came quickly: "Proud. Keep it human and visible." Before noon, Amara walked to the facilities room where Felix was restocking cleaning supplies. "Felix," she said, "I have a new role for you." He looked up, surprised, a mop in his hand. "For me?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Acting operations coordinator for routes and night dispatch. You know the drivers and the city. You greet people with respect. That is leadership. Will you help?" Felix held the mop a little tighter, then smiled slowly. "I will try my best," he said. "I know the night crews. We can make it smoother." Amara nodded. "That's all I ask. We will learn together." By early afternoon, the simple dashboard went live on screens near the dock and in the lobby. 3 numbers, big and honest: true on time, driver signature time, top 5 issues. The first number did not look pretty. It did look real. Someone pointed at it and said, "We can move that." Someone else said, "Start with bay 3. The numbers did not shame them. They invited work. The hallway outside the old conference room filled with quiet movement as former managers left with HR, each carrying a neat folder. There were handshakes. There were a few long looks. There was also relief that things were clear, that there would be no slow drip of uncertainty. Amara stood by the corner, not to watch but to be available. When the woman in navy passed, Amara stepped forward. "Thank you again," she said. The woman gave a small smile. "Take care of them," she said, tipping her head toward the warehouse. "They'll take care of you back." "That is the plan," Amara replied. At 3 o'clock, Amara held a short town hall on the warehouse floor. She stood on a wooden pallet so everyone could see her. She kept it simple. "We will lead with respect," she said. "We will listen, act, and measure. If you have an idea, bring it. If something is broken, tell us. You will not be punished for telling the truth. You will be thanked." A hand went up. "Is this really different?" someone asked honestly. Amara nodded. "It will be, because we will prove it in small ways every day. Watch the door. Watch the dock. Watch the data. You will see it. When the gathering ended, the team did not clap loudly. They went back to work with a steadier rhythm, and that was better. Work is the real applause in a place like this. As the day eased toward evening, the lobby had a new feeling. The welcome sign stood straight. The clock told the right time. The umbrellas were in a neat row with a soft note, "Please take one." Daniel held the door for an older vendor carrying a sample box, and Anna offered a seat that did not wobble. At the dock, a driver checked his watch, then smiled when a clerk walked over at 8 minutes and said, "We're on it." In the data corner, the dashboard ticked up a point. It was only 1 point, but it was earned. Amara stood near the glass and wrote a new line on the whiteboard, just below 5 minutes outside: "Start with respect. Continue with truth. Finish with care." She did not say it out loud. She did not need to. The building had begun to say it for her. Tomorrow would bring more work, more tests, and more chances to choose the right next small step. But today, the turning point had arrived, and it was steady, not loud. It moved through real actions people could feel. It felt like a company beginning again 30 days later. The lobby did not feel like the same place. People noticed it the moment they walked through the door. The clock told the right time. The welcome sign was straight and friendly. The umbrellas were easy to see. The chairs did not wobble. There was a small table with water, cups, and a simple note that said, "We're glad you're here." It was not fancy. It was warm. Visitors stood a little taller. Drivers smiled before they even reached the desk. The change was small but felt big because it met people where they were. Inside the warehouse, the mood had shifted too. The 10-minute signature promise had become a habit, not a slogan. Someone in receiving kept a small log on a clipboard. If they missed the 10-minute mark, they wrote the reason and how they fixed it. The list grew shorter each week. Drivers read the board that showed which bay was next and took a deep breath, knowing they would not be forgotten. A quiet pride returned to the team. They knew they were helping other people get on with their day. They could feel it. Anna's role at the front desk expanded in a natural way. She created a one-page welcome guide with a small map, clear numbers, and a simple path for visitors: sign in, who to ask, where to wait, and who will come greet you. She placed the guide in a small holder next to the tablet. She added a line at the bottom that read, "If you are unsure, please ask. We are here to help." People did ask. And they were helped kindly and quickly. Daniel added a flow board on the wall behind the desk. It showed the day's appointments in clean handwriting and included 3 short notes: any special needs, any deliveries that must be signed quickly, and any guests who needed an escort. The desk was not just a desk anymore. It was a living plan. Ravi, now acting flow manager, walked the dock floor at the start of each shift with a roll of blue tape on his belt. If a path was unclear, he bent down and marked it better. If a sign was confusing, he grabbed a marker and made it right. He brought back the 2-minute walk rule: if a driver had been waiting and no one had come by, a clerk had to walk over, even if they could not unload yet, and give a real update. The update was not just words. It was respect. People felt it in their shoulders and in their schedule. Things moved. Salma's pick and pack team cut mistakes by fixing small things that used to slow them down: labels that ran out at bad moments, scanners that froze, bins that were too far away. She trained new staff with patience, and she did it on the floor, not in a back room. "Watch me once," she said. "Then I will watch you once. Then we do it together." Her calm voice and clear steps made people less nervous, and less nervous hands made fewer errors. The floor felt smooth, like a song with a steady beat. Felix took on the night dispatch with care. He knew the routes by heart and the names of the drivers by memory. He started a simple practice at midnight, a 2-minute call with the last 3 drivers on the road, just to check in. He asked one question: are you safe and on track? If they needed help, he stayed on the line and worked the problem. Word spread that nights were easier now. People slept a little better before their shift. Amara did not hide in an office. She stood at the door for her weekly hour, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at lunch, sometimes at the end of the day. She learned names. She held the door. She signed for a small package when no one else was free and carried it to the right person. She did not announce who she was. She let her actions show it. The door test became a story people told with a smile. Leaders from different teams took their own hour and discovered small truths they had never seen before. One left his hour saying, "I had no idea how loud the air vent is over the sign-in tablet." Another said, "The first thing people ask for is a pen. We should keep more pens." Tiny fixes became daily wins. Daily wins made people believe. The dashboard near the dock and in the lobby showed 3 big numbers in clear text. At first, the true on-time number looked lower than anyone liked. It made some people nervous. But because it was real, it gave the team a place to push from. Someone started calling it our starting line. Each small improvement showed up on the screen the same day. The signature promise was visible and honest. The top 5 issues list became a to-do list with names next to each item. When an issue dropped off the list, people noticed. They did not cheer loudly. They just worked with more confidence. Customer calls began the same week the dashboard went live. Amara joined the first 5 calls herself. She did not read from a script. She listened. She said, "We are sorry for the late deliveries you experienced. Here is what we are changing. You can see our true numbers. We will call you next week with an update." She did call. The next week, and the week after that, and then at day 30. Some customers were quiet at first, waiting to see if the new promises would hold. Then they began to speak more openly. One small bakery owner said, "I noticed your driver came 5 minutes early and helped me carry a box to the back. That never happened before. Thank you." A larger client asked for a site visit. They wanted to see the dock flow. They wanted to meet the people who were making things smoother. Respect was moving out of the building and into the market. Inside the company, the Friday window began as a small suggestion and became a habit. For 1 hour every Friday, frontline leaders gathered near the door and shared one thing they fixed that week and one thing they were still working on. They kept it simple. Fixed, labels restocked each afternoon, so mornings are not rushed. Working on, shaded area by the driver entrance for hot days. Anyone could listen. Anyone could speak. It felt like a community, not a show. HR, guided by Myra, kept the transition kind. She hosted listening hours where anyone could drop in, ask questions, or share ideas. She made sure new roles came with fair pay and clear expectations. She set up short, practical training sessions: how to run a stand-up, how to log a delay, how to speak with a frustrated customer in a calm way. People signed up. They were not forced to attend. They wanted to learn because they could see their learning make a difference the same day. 90 days passed. The building had a new rhythm. The door told the truth about the inside. The dock moved with a gentler speed that still got things done. The data matched the day, and the day lifted the data. The board visited without fanfare. They stood by the lobby for 20 minutes and watched people come and go. They did not need a long slide deck to understand. They could see the change in the faces and in the small moments of help that happened without any special order. Amara kept the words 5 minutes outside on the whiteboard. She did not let anyone erase it. When visitors asked what it meant, she told a simple version of the story. "On my first day, I was asked to wait outside in the rain," she said. "I saw how people were treated. That told me our truth. We changed because of that truth. She did not add drama. She did not add blame. The lesson was clear, even with few words. People nodded when they heard it. Some wrote it down. Others simply took it as a quiet guide for their own choices. The interim roles became official in a small ceremony on the warehouse floor. There were no spotlights. There were no long speeches. Amara handed each person a simple card with their new title and a personal note. Felix, thank you for the respect you show at midnight. Salma, thank you for teaching with patience. Ravi, thank you for bringing back good rules. Anna, thank you for seeing people before they ask. Daniel, thank you for steady eyes and a steady door. There was soft clapping. Then everyone went back to work with a bit more light in their steps. Not every day was easy. A storm one week caused a series of delays. The true on-time number dipped on the board. The old way would have hidden it. The new way showed it. The team gathered round the screen and said, "Okay. What can we fix today?" They moved the shaded waiting area forward by a month. They sent extra calls to customers before complaints arrived. They added a second forklift to the busiest bay. The number climbed back up, not by magic but by steady work. Stories started to travel through the company that were worth hearing. A trainee used her door test hour to help an older visitor fill out a form and then walked him to the right office. He left with a smile. A driver brought a small box of cookies for the dock team with a note, "Thank you for signing me fast." A vendor wrote, "Your security guard made me feel welcome. Please keep him." These were not large things. They were the kind of things that change how a day feels. And many days, one after another, are how a company's life feels. Amara visited the receiving area late one evening, long after most people had gone home. She found Felix on the phone with a driver who had a flat tire on the edge of town. He had already called a service, shared a safe spot to wait, and notified the next stop so they would not panic. He hung up and looked up, surprised to see her. "All set," he said. "He will be okay." Amara nodded. "That is leadership," she said. He laughed softly. "It's just care," he replied. "Exactly," she said. "That is what leadership is." On the next Monday, Anna pinned a small picture to the door stories corkboard near the lobby. It was a photo of the old sign that once said "by appointment only," and next to it, a picture of the new sign, "Welcome. How can we help?" Underneath, she wrote in her careful handwriting, "Words can open doors." People stopped to look as they passed. Some smiled and added short notes about times they saw someone open a door, literal or otherwise. By the end of the quarter, customers who had paused their work with Lakeside came back. New clients asked about tours. Job applicants said they had heard that the place felt honest. The true on-time number sat where it should, and the reported number matched it. The signature log had more on-time entries than late, and on late days, there were clear reasons and clear fixes. The company was not perfect. It was real. And real was better than perfect because real could be improved. On a quiet afternoon, Amara stood in the lobby with her blue notepad. She looked through the glass at the street where she had waited in the drizzle on her first day. The sidewalk was dry now. A driver lifted two fingers in a friendly salute to Daniel. A vendor balanced a sample box on one hip, and Anna offered to carry the door. Somewhere in the warehouse, a pallet rolled smoothly across the floor. The building hummed with the sound of work done with care. She opened the notepad and added a new line under her old notes, 5 minutes outside changed 90 days inside. She closed the cover and slipped it back into her bag. Then she picked up an empty cup from the water table, dropped it in the recycling bin, and smiled at the quiet truth she had learned again and again: respect at the door becomes trust in the market. And trust, once built, does not shout. It simply stays.